Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Knockathons. After 2 days of intense discussions and heated debates, we're finally at the home stretch. Through the 4 rounds, we saw two teams fight valiantly to stay in the competition: Team Brute Force and Team Confused Unga Bunga. Congratulations to both teams. At 5 p.m. today, we presented the teams with their problem statement. The problem statement reads as follows: We live in an attention based economy. Most apps are trying to keep us hooked on them, which results in an extreme amount of procrastination. Procrastination is a slippery slope, leading to the death of productivity. Create an innovative solution to combat this and boost productivity. Now, both teams will present their solutions to tackle this problem one after the other, followed by a rebuttal round and questions from the panelists. To decide which team goes first, we're going to flip a coin. Create an innovative solution to combat this and boost productivity. Now, both teams will present their solutions to tackle this problem one after the other. Okay. Followed by a rebuttal round and questions from the panelists. To decide Team Confused Unga Bunga, what do you call, heads or tails?
Unga Bunga, you muted?
We'll go for heads.
Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, Team Confused Unga Bunga, you're up. All the best.
All right. Yep. So can I present my screen? Wait, I'll do that. Just wait for a second. All right. So I'll start the presentation. All right. So we're Team Confused Unga Bunga. We came up with a pretty decent solution, but which helps in the gamification of this entire process. So what we're aiming at doing is incentivizing doing tasks and not looking at your phone. So in the current age, we cannot just lock apps, as in we cannot just lock apps because it's the age of the information. It's the age of information. You cannot just not allow a person to use an app, but you can punish them for using them for more than a time limit. So what our app suggests is using positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement in this situation. So essentially, the idea that we've thought of, basically what it does is you can set up a timer that you will use. For example, let's just say WhatsApp for 15 minutes in 1 hour, as in every hour you can use WhatsApp for 15 minutes. All right, that's a fairly decent amount of chatting, and you won't be logged out, and you can communicate if you're doing actual work on WhatsApp. So what we thought was we could either we could provide two pathways for a person. They could either choose the paid version of the app or the free version of the app. In the paid version, the person gives us a certain amount of money, like $2, like $2 of money, or like let's just say $1 of money, as some sort of safety. So what that does is, whenever a person does a task and uses WhatsApp for less than 15 minutes or does not exceed the time limit, gets their money back with some sort of revenue. Basically, we were thinking of giving back 1% of the total amount given as safety. Or we were thinking of incorporating referral programs, something similar to what Honey does. It takes referral links and puts them up as offers. So what we're doing is benefiting our users by providing them offers like 30% off on some website, while also earning some sort of revenue in exchange. So this is how we were thinking of rewarding people who choose the premium version of the app. While on the free version of the app, we were thinking of incorporating the whole system of showing ad walls when people have exceeded time limits. So that's where some of our revenue comes from. But we would reward them with the same referral program system, basically provide them with offers and vouchers for different various brands that we're collaborating with. So we were thinking of integrating most major meeting platforms to set up calendars. We do know JetBrain Space and various different applications already exist that do this, but we were wanting to do it for free rather than a monthly subscription because we could sustain this based on our uh, based on our business initial business model. So we've also thought of integrating smartwatches optionally so that people could have some kind of smart wearable or IoT integration. That is also a very possible thing.
Mhm.
So
So I think I will also like to add one technical aspect that he might have forgot to add
mhm,
to it. So along with the app that we are going to develop, we are going to give the option to the users of setting up the timetable of maybe say like an hour, and within that hour they have the option of choosing if they want to use their time to do some educational work. Say for example, for a student, he wants to set aside 1 hour time to do his homework. So in that 1 hour time, what is going to happen is that it is going to integrate with other apps like the social media apps, like the Facebook, Instagram, and maybe YouTube. So Facebook and Instagram are basically going to be locked at that time. But for the YouTube, if you want to get any referral links to any of the research papers that you want to, say for example, academia, education, something like that, then you have the option of going into that link. And in the YouTube, you could go with the educational tags. Only the videos with the educational tags are allowed to be viewed. And this mitigates the time which you would spend on watching, say, for example, some video games or watching some football highlights. So that was one of the technical aspect that we covered with our devices. And as Sinha said before, with the integrating the IoT devices as well. So it is one of the alternatives that we can think about in the future. But what he was trying to essentially say is that we could integrate the app with the IoT watches. And what is going to happen in the watches is that you will be given a 1 hour time frame, and you will be working in that 1 hour time frame. And while working in that 1 hour time frame, and after finishing it, the watch will basically start to flicker, so you could reset your how much how much work you have done, and then get the reward system that Nishay was talking
incentivizes the
about.
whole
Huh?
process. So
Mhm.
basically, it's if you do work, you get money. If you don't, you get penalized from the same
Mhm.
amount. That's the entire concept. Thank you.
It
I would like to conclude with that. I think Vedant.
Yes. So
Yeah.
there's basically the rewarding system, but also with the watches, there's also that pain, something like that, right?
No, let's not go with that. We were about to scrap that idea.
I think
It's
that.
just a reward incentivizing system that
Mhm.
penalizes you based on
Wow.
if you've used an app for for more than the set amount, or if you use the app less, it gives you offers and some increment of money back. That's
Mm-mm.
it. That's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, Team Ungabunga. We'll now hear Team Brute Force's pitch. Team Brute Force, are you ready?
Yep, am I
Hello?
audible?
Yep,
Cool.
all the best.
Yes, Genia will go ahead with the
Yeah,
presentation.
Siddhant, you start the presentation.
Yeah, let me just share the screen real quick. Yeah. Mm, yep. Is it visible?
Yes,
Is the tab
it is.
visible for y'all?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So, a very good evening to the panelists and our worthy opponents. As you can see in the slide, we present to you our project 21 days, and the tagline is Change Your Life. In recent times, social media has led to a lot of toxicity into our lives, with the unrealistic idea of having a perfect life. Hence, we present to you our platform 21 days, because 21 days is sufficient enough for a person to form a healthy habit. Siddhant, if you can change the slide. So, this app will provide us with the perfect environment to detox ourselves from our schedules, the toxicity of the social media. And detoxing of our mind will produce healthy amount of I feel good hormone, also called dopamine. And it also increases the serotonin that helps us in sleep, waking state. So yeah, Siddhant, Over to you, Ant.
Hi, Gina. Sorry to cut you off, but your voice is
Yeah.
breaking a lot. Can some other team member of Team Rufus take over?
Um, was I not clear?
Yeah, your voice was
Hello?
breaking, so a lot of what you said was inaudible. If one of your team members can just reiterate the slide, first slide was clear. If you can start over from the second slide, that'll be great.
Okay. So I said that our app will provide our users a perfect environment to detox themselves from their hectic schedules and also the toxicity of social media. And detoxing of one's mind produces a healthy amount of the I feel good hormone called dopamine, and also increases the production of melatonin that helps one sleep at night peacefully. So yeah, over to you, Siddhant.
Yes, like Genius said, digital well-being is a thing, and there's oxytocin and dopamine bursting up in our heads should just calm all of us down. And I think 21 days comes in really handy on that particular aspect. So moving on to the technical side of it. So you see, the features of our application is that first of all, we got an amazing community of people to get started with. You know that you're not the only one here. Come on, everyone procrastinates these days, and just don't. It's just to give you an insight that you're not alone in this, and everyone is working hard, and it is just to push you forward. A community, only to inspire and get inspired. So not just that, it also personalizes your workspace and environment, and it creates a perfect schedule for you, and app locks for your social media platform when it exceeds the given time limit, just like any other normal a well-being app would do. But what makes 21 days a special a big deal is is because we address the problems that are faced by our users. So CCC procrastination comes in different shades. Some procrastinate in the notion that they have plenty of time to execute a task, oblivious to the race to their race against the clock. You think that there is a lot of time. Well, there is no time for you to complete that anymore, and that is when this whole vicious cycle of procrastination, it keeps repeating over and over again, and people tend to do more than what they think they can, and this right frame of mind or environment can actually push you forward to actually do something instead of just living in a fool's paradise. And as everyone knows, laziness, one of the biggest enemies for procrastination. Now, how do we aim to solve all of these problems? So first of all, integration of IoT devices with the help of popular smart assistant APIs, also known as application program interfaces, which smartly sets the environment around the user to boost productivity. 21 days also makes use of Outlook API in case for us for we VID students, we extensively deal with Microsoft Teams. So you know that all of your calendars are seamlessly integrated to the 21 days application to the 21 days app with the help of an API. And for those who are not a very Microsoft account user or a Google user, they can make use of Google Calendar API so that they can keep track of the classes that are coming up. So this is in case of students, and even for office-going people and professionals, I think that will really work for them as well, because when the meetings are scheduled, you know that the time left for you and for other stuff to do. It's not just limited to these two platforms, and it is always open for extension. That is up and open for all of the platforms to just make use of for 21 days, just to make it more productive. Notes are taken. Yes, you can take notes, and also there are you could schedule a particular event like any other calendar app could. But 21 days is an intelligent application, so you see it will know when is your schedule available. Just works like a sort of like a personal assistant, looks up on your calendar and tell you that these are the slots that are available for you to just do that particular work. You can go ahead with it, but it suggests you intelligently with the help of machine learning on that. 21 days is actually your one-stop solution for all of the productivity needs. The active community in our platform, again, gives you an insight of how your fellow mates are. You see, you're not alone in this, bruv. And also, your digital well-being is presented in as a statistical model for you. Gives you graphs as of how many what's your screen type been at what particular app and all of it, just to see where you stand. Just so that you get an insight about your own self. I think that's the best part about it as well. Self-analysis. Not just that, it's multi-platform. Wear OS, Android Wear, iOS, or just any Android application, 21 days has got you covered. So I think the whole point about integrating artificial intelligence to it to just see how it works. You see, when we talk of IoT, even that comes in. We are integrating IoT with ML. For example, if you're studying, the ambient light in your room would sort of adjust to 2,500 to 3,000 Kelvin, sort of a warm light temperature, which is generally perceived and psychologically proven that it will improve your concentration. Not just that, the calendar will set your days in such a way and will tell you suggestions on the events that you'll be marking in such a way that you will be able to take 15 to 20 minutes of gap and breaks, because your mind gets tired and your work gets sloppy. That is not a very productive thing to happen. So 21 days, I think, is a big deal. It's got you covered. Multi-platform, AI and ML. It's sort of like your personal assistant that you could just vibe with, sort of. So thank you, and I think that wraps it up. We're open to questions.
We'll be first having rebuttals from both the teams, and post that we'll be having questions not just from the panelists, but we'll also be opening it to all our YouTube viewers. So anybody watching the live stream can drop down your comments. We'll be picking up the two top comments, and we will be asking the fellow teams that as well. So you can have the floor for 3 minutes and you can cross question each other.
Who's going to start first?
The team that spoke last is going to start first.
All right. Yep.
All right, team root first. You can start.
Go on, start.
Okay, so very good initiative on that. The issues that I personally saw in them is the sort of a triangle scheme that you had proposed in it. I would sort of see it as a triangle scheme, honestly.
Pyramid scheme. Yep.
Pyramid scheme. Yeah. That was. I mean, it's yes, it is sort of working and all that. Not gonna disagree on that, but how sure are you that someone would want to pay to your platform as a security deposit sort of a thing? Because anyone who wants to get it, first of all, if I need to like take off, if I am extremely procrastinating in nature, I don't think I'll want to I know for a fact that I'm definitely going to break that app some way or the other, and I don't think I'll really pay money first to just get in. I don't think it will really motivate me to.
That is why I clearly mentioned that we'll be having two versions: the paid and the free one. The free one will have ad walls instead of just having the whole point of that you won't get your money back, if that makes sense. So it will have ad walls, which helps us earn revenue, and they will be punished with advertisements like while opening apps. Let's just say that.
Okay, if let's say that I'm a smart chap and I sort of use ad blockers to it, I think you're doomed, right?
All right. Can I ask you something? If someone procrastinates that much, as in if someone's ready to break our app to that extent, they won't use our app in the first place. That's the whole point of it, that it has to be your initiative to improve. If you do not want to improve, you can never improve. That's the whole point.
And speaking of IoT devices, very good initiative. I loved it, honestly.
Yeah.
Mainly because even I used it.
Yep.
and the best part is, what I wanted to say was that if you're actually integrating this IoT and all that sorts of thing, what are the sort of tech that you think you will be going with? If you could just give it insight on it, maybe.
We were thinking of setting up let's just say smart speakers for now. Let's just start with smart speakers for now, because we would have, and smart bulbs. So bulbs could just start flickering if you're exceeding your time limits, and basically it's just basic as of now. We never didn't put that much thought into it, but we did consider integration as an option.
Okay, that I think that pretty much sums it up, because it seems like a full-fledged app to me.
Yeah.
But as a user, Jeshnu.
Yeah, like how forceful is your application? Like if suppose I start a calendar, like I want to do this task, and you give a 1 hour time.
I cannot hear you.
Jeshnu, your voice is breaking.
Your internet is terrible. Yep, he lagged out.
Okay, I guess he'll be back.
Yep, we'll wait.
If you could just give us some time, panels, just relax a little bit.
Can somebody else take up a question if that is okay? Because
Jeshnu is back.
live
Jeshnu is back,
streaming,
if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Jeshnu?
Actually, my net is gone. I'll send the question in the WhatsApp. You
Uh,
Yeah, I think I'll be able to take over this
yep,
question if you
yep, yep,
just
yep.
spare me a minute. Uh,
Yeah, in the meantime, if any
yes.
of your teammates have any question, you can continue with
Genia,
that.
have you got any question in specific for the team? I think I should take that as a no. I guess. But
If the opposition team has,
I still
yeah.
sort of this whole penalizing thing about banishing
Yeah,
them from that
exactly.
still sort of kicks doesn't really stick in with me.
Yeah, exactly. But
Mhm.
sometimes negative reinforcement is the best way to cure a problem. Let's just,
Okay.
it would be, see, your idea, it helps you become better as like overall, but our idea starts working instantaneously.
And also, like we
Hello.
said, yeah, hello, Genia. If you
Okay, am I audible?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. The question is, how restrictive is the app? Like, how much can you control people's habit and track them down?
All right. So we initially mentioned how you can set time limits for yourself. Like you could use 15 minutes of any application in the frame of reference of an hour. All right. So with that, we were initially planning to just have this snooze system of sorts. So you have extra 5 minutes, but it will be taken out of some sort of a time bank that you could use later in cases of emergencies, if that makes sense. So if you're having an important conversation while working, so you can just use your saved up time to have that conversation instead of just being locked out of your app. That is why we did not choose to lock out of the apps. We just chose to just disable them. But if you go back, you will be penalized for every time you go back to the app, if that makes sense. That was our initial idea. Is that good enough?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we can
think
move
we're
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're done,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
Team Confusing Bunga, your turn.
Yep. All right. Let's start with the questions. First thing, your presentation clearly mentions how your application is for detoxing the toxicity from the social media apps. The problem statement given to us was how to stop procrastination. It never mentioned how to improve your mental health, but it's a plus point that you had that. So my question being, if you lock out people from applications, what if there's an emergency? Do you have a contingency plan for that?
I think I should go with that. See, for those people again who happen to who happen to have Wear OS or Android Wear, I think they're always having a hands-on device on their hands just to haptic feedback in case of an
Yep.
emergency. And like I said, we're integrating machine learning in it. The
Oh,
thing is, it will be able to smartly identify between what exactly is an emergency. Obviously, there are flaws to it, and the chances are that it may not consider that to be an emergency is very high. But we're not entirely, tightening it up. We're just keeping it loose so that the emergencies actually come, so that we don't miss out on emergencies and you realize one of your friend has passed away and you couldn't help him. We don't want that to happen.
yeah, exactly. Got it. So I have another question. You
Yeah.
talk about machine learning and data analysis, all right? You guys do not have any means to earn money currently. I did not see any means to earn revenue with your application. So how are you gonna, facilitate these beefy machines for all your data processing and storage?
Okay, we did not mention it obviously because our plan of action wasn't very commerce oriented. We thought we'll just stick to to the to the problem and just solving it. We didn't think of a commerce aspect to it at all. But now that you're asking me, there is definitely an opening if we were to add it in some or the other way. Like you said, your own same way, we could maybe come up with ads to it and then give a plus subscription to it. That is again one way to
That
do
is
it.
again a
But
way to,
yeah,
yep. Makes
that's
sense.
one way to do it. Yeah. And otherwise we could say that we could integrate Google Fit API just in case if you're exercising or something, and to upgrade to that or track your motion, all of that together in a single as a one-stop solution, because this is just to avoid procrastination. This is not an exercise app. This is not a fitness app. This is a well-being app. So we thought we'll stick to it, but just in case if you want to like expand your entire gamut of things to just open up to new avenues, maybe we can like log them and then we say 21 days pro or plus or
Yeah,
something of
got
that
it.
sort.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense. So I would like to ask one more thing. If your application takes 21 days, do you think a person who procrastinates at all times would be committed enough to actually follow the 21 days?
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, good.
yeah. So actually, 21 days is just a name.
Ah,
If I were to tell you the trivia and let's just drop in a fun fact here. 21 days actually was, it was invented by this plastic surgeon called some Maxwell. He wrote in his book called some psychic cybernetic something of that sort. Basically, what he said was that for 21 days it takes some time for
some time to
after
develop a
doing it.
habit. Yep, it
Yeah,
takes
no, he doesn't.
21 days.
He was actually a plastic surgeon. He was
Ah.
actually a plastic surgeon.
What he's actually trying to
He
tell
said
is
that he said in it, he mentioned in his book saying that a person takes 21 days to adjust to his own new face, and that sort of
Makes
turned
sense.
it into a myth and
Makes sense.
as a habit.
Very clever
So
name.
it's,
All
it's a
right,
day.
I'll say
So
that.
yeah.
So I'll just be saying, your project has the flaw that it will take time. As in, with your machine learning idea, it will take time to train the model on depending what's an emergency and what's not, and it will take time to set up and get used to the user initially. And just my question being, would the user be committed to that change, like to that gradual change? Uh, that's literally it. That's my last question.
Okay, yeah. The thing is, we do not have a penalizing sort of a thing to
Yeah.
just limit them in it. But like you said, just the same way as your product approaches, anyone who is committed to do something, we're always there to help on that.
Exactly. Yep. I
So we
agree with
can't
you
really
on that.
penalize them. But for those people, for me, who if I were to use your app, I would be annoyed in like 2 or 3 days only either because of ads,
Ads.
or maybe because there is a chance that the honey referral scheme sort of a thing,
Yeah.
maybe a little. But when someone restricts me, I get agitated on that.
Yeah,
Very
I
agitated.
understand, but that's the point. If you get
That is the
agitated,
yeah.
if that's the commitment from our side, like if you get
Yeah,
agitated,
it's
you
more
won't
like
do it from the next time. That's
exactly.
the whole
It
point
sounds more like a virtual rehabilitation center for me to get out of my digital addiction.
Yeah.
But when they call me a drunkard, I get pissed off. So
Pissed off.
I
I
think
get
that's
it.
the point.
I get the
I
point.
guess that was a good
That was
discussion
it.
with
Yep.
cross questioning. So now we'll just be having questions from the panel. I'll take one question and then my fellow panelist Garvit can take another. And post that, we'll go to the YouTube live questions and then we'll go from there. So, firstly, the entire premise of your Perfect 21 rests on the positive nudge that your community will get to you. And the other aspect that you spoke and you so honestly defended is that you shouldn't lock your apps and you shouldn't have this sort of a nudge. But in your idea, that is also a part of it, right? You're also looking forward to have like a app lock, and it's an integrated part of your 21 life habit, right? So when you're so against the idea of somebody confiding and restricting your motion in terms of somebody trying to tell you to stop doing something, how do both of those exist simultaneously, right? That is point one. Point two, I want a one line answer of the novelty of your app, because the way you mentioned about positive 21, there are a lot of other apps that also exist in the market that are on similar lines. So how do you differentiate there? That is my question to this team. My question to the other team is that you talk about referral models and you talk about that we're going to force them to have a sort of an ad based revenue, that they're supposed to watch an entire ad if they are on a free version. If you're a procrastinator and you see an app giving you more ads, which is just an avenue for you to procrastinate more, right? How are you solving the problem statement that we have presented to you? So whichever team would want to take up the question first. And
Can I answer first?
sure.
So I'll go with my initial point. So if someone procrastinates and wants self improvement, they will just choose not to do that instead. And like, because we cannot enforce betterment, they would have to do it themselves. That's the whole point of our thing. We punish them for being bad, but from the next time they'll try not to use their phones as much. That's our whole concept, because we
There's a
cannot.
rewarding system as well. I
Yeah,
think it's
so
not the main part.
they have the incentive to get rewards if they are well behaved, and if they're not, they will be obstructed with an ad wallpaper, or because like if they exceed their hourly limit. That was our initial idea, because if someone wants self improvement, they would have to do it themselves. We cannot make them do it. That was our
So
entire
I just
concept.
have a counter question. Like, why was the money taken? Like, why was the is it wasn't the money as an incentive to stick around your app and like
It kind of was.
so
If
now
if
you're saying that the user will stick around if he wants and
wait,
the
I'll say it. So the initial amount of money was taken for premium users, and for non-premium users we'll just show ads. But for premium users, the initial amount of money was taken so that they have some sort of commitment to the app, because with your model they can just exit at any moment, but with ours they would be like, we have $1 here, or like a certain this whatever the amount of money is. So they won't be as tending to leave their money, and with our referrals and shit, so they'll basically earn a bit as well.
Also, counter to that, you guys had a lot of internal contingencies. Like at one point, you say we don't want to have this reinforcement where we're forcing people. On the other, you say you have a security deposit locked, right? Like when you talk
Yeah,
about positive reinforcement, so there's a lot of internal friction
yeah,
in
there's
between as you
conflict.
flow.
Yep, I
Yeah.
understand.
So by what line would you want to stick to? Because this is raising a lot of questions right here.
Yeah,
So
all
final
right.
stance. Yeah.
So my final stance is that we provide with positive reinforcement when someone obeys their own rules. If they don't, we switch to negative reinforcement. That's
Yes,
literally
there's
it.
two options.
That's our thing.
Like say that there is $2 invested. If he does perform his task, then he might get like extra 10 cents. But if he does not, he might get an ad or deducted some money. So
Exactly.
those are basically two things we are working with.
So we're treating it as a bank of sorts. Basically, if you choose to just use the app more, you could use it, but you will have some kind of penalty. That's the whole thing. We're not trying to include app locks that basically just lock you out of the app. We are giving you an option to use the app too. That's the thing.
uh, I would like to answer your questions you asked. How is our app different? Hello, am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Uh, So you said that there are various apps like that in the market, but the app lock is just a service which we are going to provide for the 21 days. There are a lot of various other services like you can make your own calendars. We'll prioritize your calendars using machine learning, and we'll advise you like which are the tasks which are more important which you can do first. We can advise. We'll also make your environment better using internet of things. And so there are various other things, just that these are different bits which may be in the market, but we have so kind of like inculcated all of that and used a better revenue model and a better user interface to provide the users what they want to achieve in life.
Uh, should I say it initially or you're going? I just think that with the AI and things, we considered that thing in the beginning of our discussion as well.
Yeah.
But what we feel is that the AI, as most people see, is like too overhyped. It could be possible, but
Can I add?
how
Can I
do I
say
say it?
something, Vedant? So it uses too many resources to
Yes, exactly.
as in the resources to the output is just, there's just a huge difference. You would have to use a lot of money to get this tiny feature that just detects if it's an emergency or not, or while on the contrary, like our app, you could use some sort of a time reward system, which will work more efficiently and will be better, in my opinion, at least. That's it.
Also, if I
Go
may
ahead,
add a
go
point
ahead.
to it.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Also, if I may add a point, I just wanted to tell that one reason why we call 21 days to be a little different from all the other applications out there, the Google digital well-being is something Google is already working at, something. Obviously, we're not competing with Google. But the irony is we're making use of Google's services to get whatever we are getting. APIs, the most, as far as I know, the most cleanest and efficient way to execute all of it. But again, coming up to the resources part, honestly, we aren't doing anything. Google has got all of the data, and we're just making use of it to our own advantage. For example, if I were to say, let's say I just want to go out for a to go basically just to go out for a recreation something, and I just mention it as an event. Again, the ML here will intelligently identify that I mean, like, you're going at a particular place, so it may make use of Google Maps API to see if the traffic is at that particular point is working, or if you have to shift it, or if you don't have to. Because once you go out in the road and you see there is a huge traffic jam, I think again you'll postpone the whole thing. So it will know exactly. Again, like I said, AI is developing and hyped, obviously, yes, but I don't think we'll have to eliminate the entire possibility of AI being here, because like I said, we're living in the AI world right now, and I think it's better to go with the flow than against the flow. I think that should, you know, and also it's more like having a personal touch to it. You wouldn't we've actually incorporated some serious psychological facts as studies that have proven how things are actually how makes the mind work. So all of our entire system, how it works, we incorporate 15 to 20-minute breaks. And not just that, because the more breaks are involved, like after a particular given task, after 1.5 hours, after 90 minutes, your brain works at a better in a much more efficient manner. Your productivity wouldn't droop, wouldn't lead to procrastination. You'll be occupied altogether. And given that it also has IoT integration, like I said, your lights could be around at a warm light temperature, just to, like, I mean, it's all study proven. So we thought we'll integrate that as well. We thought we'll emphasize on that in specific, and these are the facts and features that I do not know personally have any apps in the market having those right now.
Also, to add on, my friend, I think we are missing on a very important point that has not been stressed enough. We are connecting you with friends and peers you know of, so that you can tell the task you want to do, and otherwise you'll make yourself accountable to the tasks. Like if I say I want to do this and I just keep it in my mind, nobody knows it. But if I say aloud to my friends, like, I'm gonna complete this task, it makes me more kind of like to the people, like, I want to make sure that I'm not felt ashamed of in front of these people. So I'll make, if we also have this, also it will give us a sense of positivity if we complete the task and tell to our friends that yeah, we have completed it. So it kind of connects well with friends.
Yeah, so I have questions for both the teams. I'll first ask team Unga Bunga. Like,
Yep.
you start in your presentation with going again that you aren't willing to enforce a method of information restriction. However, your model ultimately comes back circle on that. On
Yeah.
that becomes your ultimate metric of actually stopping people, because even if ad walls aren't a particular form of complete
Blocking. Yeah.
information restriction, they do to some extent
They do
significantly
to some
restrict.
extent.
And plus,
So
your model is heavily derived. What I feel like is from an app called Forest that is available online.
okay. Mhm.
Yeah, and it is pretty similar, where it incentivizes you in a psychological way to improve your to reduce the procrastination time or time spent on social media slash mobile phone, etc. But you are trying to develop another model, but same, the positive and negatives still remain the same with that app. And
Yeah.
second, I'll like to complete with the second theme. You tell me about you're trying to connect people with people, and that will help you develop a sort of habit. But connecting with people is something that actually gives me more, actually distracts me more from,
Distracts me. That was my
because
point.
I am now more thinking about, is that person doing the same task or as me? If I am doing it in a better way than him or a worse way than him, I'm more concerned about his development against mine rather than focusing on my own. And it gives me a more uh, plenty of more domains to focus on rather than my actual work. So while you are trying to incorporate only the positive side of it, there is a negative aspect that can't be ignored with that. And I can't see any metrics in your app that try to minimize those or avoid those.
Karvit, can I answer? So, as you mentioned, Forest, what we're doing different. Forest just penalizes you if you do not do a task. We're trying to uh, make the whole honey lake reference thingy so you get some amount of money back. We essentially, our whole idea of a of an ideathon or a knockathon is to present it to stakeholders, like potential stakeholders, if that makes sense. So that is why we focus so much on the monetary aspect of this. That's all.
Yeah, I think Garvit has made a really good point there. The thing is, am I allowed to go now? Yeah, good. Yeah, sure. Okay, so we do not have a sort of a restrictive system, and I think even personally speaking, when I was preparing for a particular examination, I think when I was in the class and look at my peers around me studying, sort of pushed me ahead. Then obviously it had its own downsides when my friend got more marks than me, obviously, but that actually made me realize where exactly I stand at. And I personally believe that the users who will be using it are focusing on self development and they want to make themselves as a better person. And I think this is more of a constructive criticism there for uh, for their for their being, like how they are right now. It's just a way for us to tell them that, bro, you're not just doing fine, you have to push yourself a little harder. We're telling it by not really telling it. We're keeping up with all of these this this community sort of a thing. And similarly, this is actually a very similar sort of a feature which I got inspired from a lot of other fitness apps, if I were to say, like Strava, which I personally use, where I could see my friends how going for miles and kilometers, and you sort of have these leaderboards sort of a thing. uh, I think when I stay on top of the leaderboard, that pushes me even harder. The dopamine kicks in, psychology of being there. The dopamine kicks in, and I just feel good about me being at the top, and I would just want to push myself harder. But when I'm at the bottom, that's a different thing. It will push me even down. But that is when our app will have this, a manageable. It gives you a manageable, doable sort of a schedule, smartly, and a calendar sort of a thing that you will actually be able to do, rather than setting unrealistic goals, saying that I'll be able to complete the whole record in, like, which you chat with the whole incomplete work which you had for the 6 months in just one night. Those are unrealistic goals. It'll break it down for you, and then it'll tell you how to do exactly and when. And by just following that, you should be in a very good position to, like, get a habit of being productive, and you wouldn't and your productivity wouldn't droop again, thanks to all of those breaks and a little bit of psychology insights that we just got some time back. So I think that should.
Okay, just one last follow up on
Sure.
that.
Yep.
See, Cult Fit and all those fitness apps are encouraging me to do more of something that I'm already doing. The point over here is I have to reduce something that I'm already doing more. This, like, we have to use competition in the reverse way possible. We aren't using competition as the same metric as a general mark, like you talked about marks and all. We're talking about a competition in a sense where I have to push myself down from the other person or reduce my time from the other person. So that negative sense of competition that you're trying to introduce, uh, you actually have to stay less connected rather than more connected to push leave yourself out of it. And yeah, that's my last question. If you have any clarification on that or any points to make.
However,
And
I would like, yeah, go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Okay.
I was just saying that now you're not doing procrastination, but now you're doing the task. So what you're competing with your friends is not on the basis of procrastination, but you're competing on the basis of task you were doing. Like the question you asked, that you need to stop doing procrastination. So why are you having a competition on that? Just a
Like, and if I properly attend my classes and follow up the breaks and do not want to, like, deviate. So basically, even though there are app locks and all of that, that doesn't mean that we're entirely shut out and locked out. Obviously, it will be locked out just for our convenience. Um, but if we follow the rules, we'll sort of get points, is what I wanted to imply. That is the sort of competition that, and we do not have any sort of a security deposit sort of a thing to just hold them up and not leave the app. uh, we can't stop them, but we can motivate them to stay, is what I wanted to imply here. So we can't really stop them, but we can just motivate them so that you could you and give them a hope that you will and you can become a better person altogether if you just follow up with all of these things. I think that is exactly why we wanted to implement that in specific, just to stop them, not stop exactly, but to make them stay. If you know.
That was great. Ananya, can we have the YouTube questions, please?
Yeah, okay. Our first question is for Team Brute Force. Team Brute Force, you mentioned that you would use ML to make your app better, but since not much clarity was given, could you talk about what dataset would be used and what model would be trained? To add on, you mentioned in two specific cases, once in your presentation and once while answering the current question, exactly what ML would you be looking at here? This is a question of YouTube.
Oh, looks like someone's got some stuff about ML and is asking me a question. Great one. Okay, so we will most probably, we not most probably, we will be here. We all see the thing is we will be integrating ML, and we're not training our data sets entirely. We will be using the data that are already trained. Mainly, and TensorFlow is a huge platform. I think there are a lot of machine learning models out there available, already trained. Super cool. And I don't think there is not a model that wouldn't suit us. Specifically, we would also want to emphasize on the fact that the ML part is only when calendar arrangement comes up, right? That is the only part where we're actually integrating ML. Otherwise, all of the other things, literally all of the other things, only uses API. And we obviously do not have such huge TPUs like tensor processing units and all of that sort of a thing. We're just a startup. We can't really do such immensely high intensive machine learning sort of a thing with our own thing. So we can't really do that. We don't have the infrastructure to do it in the first place. We're definitely going to make use of API there, and ML a little bit of ML that already that API is doing. I'm not doing anything. The API is doing. And also, if at all they're asking me what sort of a model will be going, it will most probably be unsupervised model altogether, because you see it's unsupervised. It reads your pattern. It sees when you sleep, when you want to sleep, wakes up accordingly, turns the light on, and it's an unsupervised learning model. And I think the model will get matured and the learning curve will go steeper as it gets better by time. Everyone knows it. Machine learning just gets better. So uh, I think great question, by the way. Great question.
Okay, good answer. Our next question is for Team Confused Unga Bunga. As an actual student of psychology, I'd like to correct the representative of Team Unga Bunga that negative reinforcement is not immediately effective either. Basically, there's an optimal level of motivation. If somebody is not motivated, negative reinforcement will act as a deterrent against doing the task and all. Secondly, if you don't give negative reinforcement right after the undesirable behavior, you won't change anything. You just make the user more frustrated. Team Confused Unga Bunga, how do you want to address this?
I would just
Yeah.
say that I'll look into it. I did not know this. Thank you for the information.
Okay.
We're just trying to
I think it
first
made them
put
pretty
the
confused.
of a positive reward. We first
Yeah,
have the
we would just-
positive reward, and that is what is going to motivate you first.
Yeah,
And if you
like,
do not, then there's
you're gonna
nothing. You
get
just have to
penalized. That was our initial idea, but we look into it. Thank you for the suggestion.
Okay. The next question is for both teams. How are the teams weighing the aspects of negative reinforcement against the accountability by a community or your peers?
Can I say one thing about the opposite team? So, wasn't the whole point to get off of social media? So, what's the whole point of creating a community inside your, anti-procrastination app and making it some like a sort of social media itself? As in, you're trying to go away from social media by making another. So that.
I think your voice is a little breaking. I'm not wrong. Is it just me, or is
My
Yeah,
internet died. All right, I'll
Okay.
I'll ask the question again. So
Yeah, sure.
what you guys are doing is trying to form a community, a sense of community, and make a whole, how do I say this, ecosystem right? So my point being, isn't the problem statement just saying that you want to get away from social media? So your solution essentially is create another social media application to get away from social media applications. So how just so that is why I would say that doing it solo should be better compared to having a community aspect, according to me.
I guess we do not blame the social media completely. I guess you cannot underestimate the power of social media and power of connecting with people. Like social media is not the cause of all evils. I guess Mark Zuckerberg is though. But to tell your point, but if you are with the good community, people who want to change, of course, it will make a good change. But you have to be with the right kind of people. The algorithm needs to promote right kind of people, right kind of attitude, I guess.
So essentially, your thing is totally community driven, right?
Yeah.
Also community driven.
Also, it's partially community driven. Let's just say that. So essentially,
Okay, I'm not very sure if you. I read this story back in when I was in 2nd standard of. I don't remember this. There's this tale of two birds where basically one of the bird falls into a thief's cave and the other bird falls into a saint's house. They both grow up. They're both twins, but then the bird that fell into the thieves' cave sort of starts helping the thieves because it's a parrot. It can apparently speak and it can like say cuss words and all that. But the one at the priest's house is like very really good and humble and all that stuff. The takeaway message here is that the people that you are with sort of shape you. Apparently, there is also this. I'm not a psychology expert, but I personally believe also in this that you are the average of the people around you.
I understand. You do.
So I'm just giving a community of like-minded people so that you become the average of all of those like-minded people who want to get better. The community here includes only those people who want to get better, obviously, because that's what we're all here for.
So,
and obviously, if we're restricting social media, I think we will be having enough insight onto how much we should be restricting this community as well.
Yep.
We don't have a chat thing, or we don't have Instagram Live, we don't have Reels in 21 days and all that stuff. I think for most of the time, I explore Reels over chatting with someone.
Yep.
So we don't have that option there. Yeah. So I think the procrastination part here is cleared, but the community would just tell you that you're not alone in this. Is what I think.
Yeah, I get the whole. I get the whole idea of having a community so that like-minded people can just improve at once. But there comes this whole aspect of moderating the community. AI cannot moderate communities. You would need to hire people for moderating communities, as in, if that.
No, AI has no part in this. Honestly, AI is not moderating anything.
Wait. I'm just saying that you cannot automate this process.
Yeah.
You would need actual physical moderators, and based on your current whole business model, I don't think you will be able to support a whole team of moderators, considering. If I assume 1 lakh people use your application, is that a good enough number to assume?
Yeah. I mean, you could just start with any.
You would need at least 100 moderators for that amount of people.
We'll be wrapping up in 10 seconds, so could we have like closing statements, please?
Closing statements. Both are equally good options.
Just don't procrastinate is the.
Yeah, just don't procrastinate. Do it.
Don't procrastinate. I'm a living example of it. Don't do that.
Yep, just don't.
Okay, great job, you guys, both teams. The judges will take their time now to go deliberate and come back with a result. In the meantime, we had 2 teams that made it through to the semifinals and did a really great job. So we've got a special shout out for them. Team Shark Tank and Team Undiscovered Geniuses. You both had unique, very well thought out ideas, and we all loved listening to your pitches. So great job. Okay, now for you 2 teams, I hope you guys had fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Keep in mind this was only.
He's a really
What?
cool guy. This is really cool.
Yep. Thanks. You too.
I really need to go on to
Vedant is also a really cool guy. Just making sure.
You all were really cool. All right.
Okay, well, keep in mind, this was only the second stop of Dev Jams Express. We've got a couple more events lined up. I will show you the website right now. Okay, so, right. We've got 2 more stops coming up. We have Hexathon Terminal. Hexathon is an art event. It's for designers, whether you're a beginner or an expert. In Hexathon, we'll give you 6 design elements to choose from. You can make your final solution with them. And yeah, the only catch is you'll have to choose carefully because we've got a fun little twist in there. You'll have to choose wisely and choose to your strengths. Registrations for Hexathon will start on Wednesday, so if you're into design, if you want to get started, you can head on over there and start. And then finally, on the 13th of November, on the 12th of November, we have Dev Jams. Dev Jams is what this has all been leading up to. It's our final stop. It's our annual hackathon, the 5th edition actually, and this time it's an MLH hackathon, which is a big deal. We are very excited about that. We have a lot of interesting tracks lined up for you. You can compete. It's a great opportunity for students and upcoming entrepreneurs to develop, compete, network, ideate, everything. You get to put yourself out there. We'll also be having Dev Talks as a part of Dev Jams on the 13th, where we'll have renowned speakers from the tech industry coming and talking about their fields, and you get to interact with them. It's lined up to be a lot of fun. I will show you the timeline and everything you need to know. So we've got a really cool animation and everything on our website. So we're done with the CTF, we're done with Knockathons, almost done, we are here. And then we've got a couple more stations lined up. So yeah. Okay. If anyone has any doubts, we've got our Discord server at the bottom of this website, and you can come get your doubts cleared here. Okay.
Just a curious question: are we still live?
Yes, yes, you are. We're gonna be live until the
results, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Okay. So now, do you guys have any feedback for each other or feedback for us? Anything?
I guess we both were similar, so we had difficult asking questions to each other. I guess
Yeah.
similar ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it had, I mean, they were similar ideas, but we just had a more, let's just say,
You could do better, I guess. Next time.
let's just say our approach was a little too aggressive. Let's just go with that.
Basically, we focus on the short-term goal, and they
Yeah.
focus on the long-term goal.
Yeah.
And together, it's going to be a great product.
Like together, it will be an amazing product.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Something to keep in mind for future collaboration
Yep.
and stuff.
Also,
Totally.
are you guys, have this project to be sort of like, what is it exactly? Like a mobile application, web application?
We were actually
What is
thinking
it?
of a
What
web
is
app that we could just. So we were thinking of a web app because we can just use the Electron app system to just transfer it over different devices. So that's just
Yeah,
easier.
makes sense. But you know how slow that actually gets, right?
Yeah, that gets very slow.
Microsoft
Hence,
Teams is a living example for that.
living example of that.
Exactly.
But Discord is also a living example of that.
Exactly,
So, I mean,
Discord is also a living example.
so balanced. So let's just say That's why we did not try to incorporate like too many features like
Oh yeah,
we just did not want too much data to be displayed to the user. They just needed to
makes
have a
sense.
calendar. That's it. It was an initial idea.
Pretty
Yep.
straightforward. Yeah,
Yep.
cool.
Do you think you have any feedback for us? Like how how you like the event and something like that. Maybe you could tell us something about
The
it.
event was great.
Do we
I
get gifts?
straight to the point. Straight to the point. Damn, nice.
I did not even know that we might be getting gifts till now.
I had no clue before participating that there are prizes. I just participate for the sake of it.
Well, yeah, we will be sending both teams home with something. You find out.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were prizes until like the last round, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I just saw someone on Discord just say, "Are there prizes?" and someone replies, "Yes," and I'm like, "Whoa!"
That's me.
I had no idea.
You guys were just talking to
Is the live
yourself
stream over?
on a
Is the
public
live
forum,
stream over?
seriously, bro.
Hmm? Oh yeah, we're talking on live stream. Yep, I remember it.
Yes,
So,
please keep talking.
Yeah, I am
I
trying
mean,
not
yeah,
to
I
use
mean, it's
bad
way
language.
better.
Yep.
It's way better. Okay, it's way better than having an awkward silence.
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
way
I
better
know,
than
yeah.
having an awkward silence.
Yeah.
So
Also, man, do you game? What you're up to? What chapter?
uh, I actually wait. So wait. I'll send you. Wait, I'll tell it to you over Discord. Let's just say that. I don't want to announce it on live stream.
The game he plays is an
It's gonna
embarrassment.
live on for years.
I mean, it's Valorant and
Oh
Minecraft, I guess,
no. Oh
and
no.
Minecraft. I play them moderately because I am getting old and I cannot play for more than an hour. I just get really tired.
I don't play games. No. I'm not a very cool guy to be. Clearly, I don't play games
Clearly, you
You go
don't
to
play
gym,
games.
right?
except for COD Mobile, if that comes in.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Would you all
Anything
be
you would want to tell?
participating in the dev
about
jams, like the
this?
hackathon?
Me, hackathon.
Yeah,
Uh,
wanna participate together? Would be fun.
see about that, man. Honestly, I'm not very. I still was very skeptical about how exactly Knockathon goes on until the first round. To be
Uh,
honest. The first round gave me a sort of a picture that how exactly all of these works. I think the same applies with hackathon, but by the time I would learn about the nuances of how the entire competition would actually be, I think I'd be out of it already. So I'm
makes
not
sense.
very sure about. Yeah.
So I'm from Amity, right? So Amity University hosted these yearly hackathons. I've been participating in them since 8th grade. So in 11th, I got banned from participating because I had a record of winning four consecutive, like from four, like 2 to 3 consecutive years. So I
Damn.
am banned from Amity University to participate in any hackathons.
Humble brags.
Humble brags. Humble
Humble
brags.
brags, yeah. Cool one, man.
Yeah.
I think your NASA T-shirt says a lot. Speaks volume.
Obviously.
Will the results be announced on live stream?
yes, they will.
Yeah.
That is exactly what we're chatting, dude.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for. Yeah, okay. I think we have the results.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Are the panelists back? Okay.
Yes, we are back. And after a very exciting debate with like a lot of things that were there, we sure had more exciting debates in our internal rounds, but this was a good debate. And with the matter that both of the sides presented, it was a very close call. So it is, I'll be very clear from the right of the verdict. So this is how I'm going to go about it. We're going to first do a little build up, then give you the verdict, and then justify how I'll go first of how I saw the debate slash your ideas going towards your teammates and how sort of in the discussion they panned out, followed by my fellow panelist Karvit will present his point of view, how he saw the debate panning out as and when we've started from the pitch to the entire discussion process, right? So, first, any guesses in the comments with all of you guys? Who do you think won? Any guesses on the comments, guys?
Can they
Any
place
on
wagers? Like, can they place wagers on which team wins? That would be fun.
we aren't doing that, but if we have some comments on who's winning, let's see. Let's just get an idea from the audience, just a little bit of where it's going. But yes, so after careful deliberation, with possibly a very slight margin, it was very close. And we'll tell you why it was this close. And we have come to the conclusion that the winner of Knockathons 2021, in collaboration with DebSoc and GDSC, is Team Brute Force.
Good
So,
job.
congratulations, guys. And
Thank you.
I'll just tell you why this happened. So the way we saw the entire debate and the way it trickled down was, we did understand Team Unga Bunga's idea when they talk about the entire revenue model. I think that was their USP that stood out
Yep.
till the end of this debate. And while we do understand and we are able to get the revenue model, and we duly credit them for that, because that is the novelty that we get from their point of view, but we're still unsure throughout the discussion about the feasibility, right? Because there are several stances between teammates, and there's an internal friction as to if they're restricting, who are these, what are premium users getting, what is this referral model, right? So
Mhm.
as you guys go on to talk about all of these things, though we get the idea, but the idea is sort of similar, right? So we
Yep.
can't give you 100% credit for just blocking apps and saying that people wouldn't be able to see, because this is something we've already seen. So we're
Exactly.
trickling down to your USP, which is your revenue model. And since that is not very clear in terms of where we're getting that, and if the ad walls that you're talking about, are they really restricting people, and are they, and you don't really establish this for the judges anywhere, that where is the metric that this revenue model or showing them this ads or disabling this is actually preventing to be a good use for a procrastinator who's been practicing this for a while. We don't really know where to credit you, right? But we do
Yes.
give you kudos for the novelty idea of your revenue model.
I
Coming
understand.
to Team
Yep.
Brute Force, so while a lot of your things, similarly, we don't credit you for the lock-in feature, we think that's already there. The community feature, I think when you talk about the whole community feature, that you'll have people, procrastinators, etc., you don't necessarily tell us what this community is about. You don't tell us if there is like, you sure like compare it with the fitness community, but are they going to be role models that have come out of this procrastination, or are they going to be coaches who, like, we're not sure, right? So we don't entirely give you that for it. And I think your opposition fairly counters you on this whole community idea, that this is not something that they tell you, that you haven't laid it out, and if there are procrastinators coming on a community, how are they exactly going to like benefit out of it? But what we duly credit you for is the idea of scheduling, right? What the whole novelty and the idea that stands out throughout the course of this discussion, and as you progress further, is the idea that you have some amount of work and you're able to break that down. Sure, we have a little question on the ML data sets point, but since there is, with the time crunch, and you fairly told us that there are going to be trained models, etc., so the tech feasibility, I'm slightly inclined to give you that. But the idea that you're still having a platform where you're scheduling stuff and breaking down important tasks, does solve the problem at hand, which is of procrastination, right? And this is something that your opposition doesn't really challenge. They challenge the feasibility of AI ML, but they don't necessarily tell you why having this scheduling breakdown is anywhere problematic, or why it is of no value, right? So at the end of whatever discussion and your pitches as we progress, we only see something of this standing out. And that is why we thought that with the slightest of margin, since this remains at the end of it, we give you the debate. So Garvit would also present his views on how he saw this trickling forward. And thank you so much, guys. But it was a good debate, and you guys did a great job.
Thank you so much, Kriti. You were a great host.
Okay, so Kritika has almost covered all the points, all the major contentions. Something I like to more focus upon is why we weighed that novelty factor or that delta positive factor that came from side brute force over the monetary strong point of team Unga Bunga, was that which is more fixable. I can fix someone's monetary strategy or someone's flawed economic model, but it's very hard for me to fix something that is contentious or that has its problem down to its root core base idea. So when I value both things, I'm more likely to pick the one which I'm more easily or which is more fixable. So that their economic model can be fixed, but your model about that your model is contentious on a lot of points, like
Yeah.
positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. What's your major crux of your app? Which side do you want to tilt? You have to pick one side. Second, do you actually want to give people access to the information that's necessary, or do you want to block it to? Do you want to go ahead and block it? But app blocking and information lock, both teams didn't want to do it, but it ultimately became the
It
major
had to be done.
tool for both the teams to achieve any aim. So the other aim, the other thing that team brute force had to achieve their aim was the scheduling part, while team Unga Bunga just got stuck to the part of force this locking apps and then giving incentive to unlock, while team brute force got out of that loop to slight extent. I thought the part where they explained about that ML scheduling or how do they plan to do so, had it been more analyzed or more had it been the major crux of your case, then I think you would have won with more clearer margin. Apart from that, I feel the community point that Kritika already touched upon, how like it's highly unlikely that two people who are very less productive and enjoy wasting their time when they come together, that they'll suddenly start being start being productive at all, or start utilizing their time better, because you need someone who you first look up to, and there's an entire cycle of how you change that cycle. How do you wish to achieve that with your community wasn't specified wasn't specified in your model. Apart from that, I don't think I have anything more to add. Yeah, great debate, guys. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Also, guys, just to conclude and tell you guys that we do have prize money for you. So the winning team, Team Brute Force, walks away with 10,000 cash prize. You can divide it amongst your members however you want. And our first runner-up, Team Unga Bunga, also walks away with a cash prize of 5,000 rupees. So we'll get in touch with you for the cash prizes and how it's going to
Yep.
go. Great debate, guys, and hope to see you in our future events and
Yep.
connect with you.
The real prize was making everyone say Unga Bunga this many times. That is the real prize. That was amazing.
Just a heads up, it's not a unique name in VIP. Like,
Oh, really? Damn.
Okay, I'm glad. I was just skeptical when there was another team which had the same name as ours.
Oh, yeah, at two brute force, right?
It was,
they had a really cool
yeah.
name. They had a really cool name. I'll just say that.
I like I said, I was actually confused between how a knockathon and a hackathon really works. And you have this brute force attack and DDoS attack and all that sort of thing. I thought, why not just go with the brute force?
Go with brute force. Got it.
Yeah, but then I realized we're not the only brute force.
Yes.
All right, guys, we're gonna go off YouTube now, so say bye.
Bye.
Sure. I just wanted to add one thing. I realized someone had commented on this section about asking the unsupervised model and like about the privacy of the data. Come on, man. I just wanted to tell that person that, bro, it's just that you see data is being stored and it's being utilized. All we can give is guarantee and a particular set of laws to just ensure that it doesn't happen. I don't think there's any other way for us to ensure it otherwise. Maybe you could use IDEA.
I'll just say,
Okay,
the
yeah.
knockathon's
And
over.
with this
Forget
guarantee,
about it.
we
Forget.
close down this debate and see you guys
Sure,
soon.
absolutely,
Bye-bye.
Yep.
We loved
Yeah,
having
that's
you here.
great
Thank
news, yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Great day. Bye.